Hyun stepped through the bright scanner at the space station. He had done this 100 times before on other stations. The machine would beep, show his species information, and he would walk through. Simple. But this time, the machine made a horrible grinding noise. Red lights flashed everywhere. The scanner's screen showed numbers and symbols that made no sense. They kept changing, faster and faster. The security officer behind the desk jumped up. Her name was Kill. She had 4 arms and skin that looked like blue glass. Her large eyes grew even larger as she stared at the screen. "Sir, please step back into the scanner," Kill said. Her voice shook a little. Hyun did what she asked. He was tired from his long trip, but he stayed calm. The scanner made the same awful noise again. More red lights, more confused symbols on the screen. "What species are you?" Kill asked. She picked up a small device and pointed it at Hyun. The device beeped and showed an error message. "I'm human," Hyun said. "From Earth." Kill's fingers moved quickly across her computer. She searched the Galactic database. After a moment, she looked up at Hyun with confusion in her eyes. "There is no planet called Earth in our records," she said. "There is no species called human." Hyun felt his stomach drop. This was wrong. He had traveled through 3 other stations before this one. How could they not know about Earth? "That's impossible," Hyun said. "I came here on a transport ship from the outer colonies. My identification was in my bag, but the ship had an accident. I lost everything." More security officers came over. One was tall and thin with skin like tree bark. Another looked like a walking pile of rocks. They all stared at Hyun like he was some kind of puzzle. "Commander Velrus needs to see this," Kill said to the other officers. They took Hyun to a small room. It had soft chairs and a window that looked out at the stars. One officer stayed by the door. He told Hyun to wait. Hyun sat down and tried not to worry. An hour passed, then another. Finally, the door opened. A creature walked in that looked like a giant insect, but she wore clothes and walked on 2 legs. Her voice came from a device on her chest. "I am Commander Velrus," she said. "I run this station. We have a problem." "I understand there's some confusion about my species," Hyun said. "Confusion is a small word for this," Velrus said. She held up a data pad. "Our scanners say you are a mammal, but you have eyes like a hunter. Your teeth say you eat plants and meat. Your body is built for running long distances. None of this makes sense together." "Humans are adaptable," Hyun explained. "We evolved on a planet with many different environments. We had to be able to do many things to survive." Velrus's insect face was hard to read, but Hyun could tell she was troubled. "Every species in the galaxy fits into our classification system," she said. "Prey species, predator species, scavenger species, but you don't fit anywhere. Our computers cannot process your biology." "So what happens now?" Hyun asked. "I have called a xenobiologist named Thrace," Velrus said. "He will examine you. Until we understand what you are, you must stay in a holding area. I'm sorry, but we cannot let an unknown species travel freely through the galaxy." Hyun wanted to argue, but he understood her concern. If an unknown creature showed up on Earth, people would be careful too. They moved him to a larger room. This one had a bed, a bathroom, and a food dispenser. It was comfortable, like a nice hotel room. But Hyun could not leave. That evening, Thrace arrived. He looked like a large frog, but he wore a white coat and carried medical equipment. His voice was kind. "I promise this won't hurt," Thrace said. "I just need to run some scans." Thrace waved different devices over Hyun's body. Each one beeped or buzzed or made some other sound. Thrace's large eyes grew wider with each scan. "Fascinating," Thrace kept saying. "Absolutely fascinating." "What's so interesting?" Hyun asked. "Your muscle structure is designed for endurance, not speed or strength," Thrace explained. "Your skin has no armor, no poison. no camouflage, yet you have forward-facing eyes like a predator. Your brain is very large. You have hands that can grip and manipulate objects with great precision. Is that unusual? Hyun asked. It's unprecedented, Thrace said. Most intelligent species evolved from prey animals. They developed big brains to outsmart predators. Some evolved from ambush predators who needed intelligence to hunt. But you seem to be something else entirely. Over the next few days, more researchers came to study Hyun. They asked him thousands of questions about Earth, about human history, about his biology. Hyun answered everything as best he could. He met other detained passengers, too. One was a merchant named Prex. He had purple fur and a long tail. Prex was waiting for his travel permits to be approved. "You're very calm for someone who might be trapped here forever," Prex said one day. Hyun smiled. "Panicking won't help. Besides, they'll figure it out eventually. My sister is a xenolinguist. When she hears I'm stuck here, she'll come. She'll bring proof that humans exist." "Your sister studies alien languages?" Prex asked. "Yes, she works at a research colony not far from here. She's probably wondering why I'm late." Prex looked at Hyun with curiosity. "You know what's strange? Your eyes." "My eyes?" Hyun asked. "Most prey species have nervous eyes, always looking around for danger. Predator species have aggressive eyes, always looking for weakness. But your eyes are different. They're calm, comfortable. I can't explain it." Hyun had never thought about it before. But maybe Prex was right. Humans were unique. They didn't fit into the simple categories that the galaxy used. As Hyun lay in his bed that night, he thought about Earth. He thought about the long history of humanity. His ancestors had survived ice ages, droughts, and countless predators. They had spread across an entire planet. They had learned to thrive in deserts, jungles, mountains, and islands. Maybe that's why the scanners couldn't identify him. Humans were something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. He just hoped they would figure that out before he grew old in this holding room. Thrace sat in his laboratory, surrounded by screens full of data about Hyun. Nothing made sense. He had studied biology for 40 years, examined hundreds of species from across the galaxy, but this human was a mystery that refused to be solved. "Look at this," Thrace said to his assistant, a small floating creature named Bix. "His sweat glands are designed for cooling during long physical activity, but he has no natural weapons, no claws, no fangs, no venom. How did his species survive?" "Maybe they're very good at hiding?" Bix suggested. "No. His eyes are positioned for tracking movement, not for wide-angle vision. He's built to chase, not to hide." In the holding area, Hyun had settled into a routine. Every morning, Thrace came to run more tests. Every afternoon, Hyun talked with Prex and other detained travelers. Every evening, he tried to contact his sister Nari. The communication system finally connected on the 5th day. "Hyun!" Nari's face appeared on the screen. She looked worried and angry at the same time. "Where have you been? You were supposed to arrive a week ago." "I'm stuck at Transit Station Vex 7, Hyun explained. "They can't identify my species. The databases don't have any information about humans or Earth." Nari's expression changed from anger to confusion. "That's impossible. I've registered Earth with the Colonial Outreach Program. We're in the system." "Not in their system," Hyun said. "They've never heard of us." "I'm coming there right now," Nari said. "I'll bring all the documentation. Don't worry, big brother. I'll get you out." After the call ended, Hyun felt better. Nari was smart and determined. She would fix this. Meanwhile, Commander Velris called a meeting with her senior staff. The conference room was filled with beings from a dozen different species. All of them had opinions about what to do with Hyun. "We should release him," said one officer, a bird-like creature with bright feathers. "He's done nothing wrong. He's been cooperative and calm." "We can't release an unidentified species into the general population." argued another officer who looked like a walking fish. What if he's carrying diseases? What if his biology is dangerous to other species? Our medical scans show no diseases, Thrace said. He had been invited to the meeting. But I agree we need more information. This human represents a completely new category of life. His planet must be extraordinary. I've searched every database, said the station's AI coordinator. There is no record of Earth in our star charts. I did find something interesting, though. There is a planet in Sector 447 marked as unsuitable for complex life. It's classified as a Class 9 death world. The room became silent. Death worlds were rare. They were planets so hostile that most species couldn't survive there. The fact that one could produce intelligent life seemed impossible. What makes it a death world? Velrus asked. Extreme weather variations, frequent ice ages followed by warming periods, volcanic activity, asteroid impacts, high oxygen levels that make fires very dangerous, large predators. The list goes on, the AI said. And humans evolved there? Thrace was amazed. That explains so much. They had to adapt to survive constant changes. That's why they're so hard to categorize. Back in the holding area, Hyun fixed a broken food dispenser. Several other detainees had complained about it. The station maintenance crew said they would fix it eventually, but Hyun couldn't wait. He liked solving problems. Prex watched as Hyun took apart the machine using tools he had borrowed. How do you know how to fix this? Prex asked. Basic engineering, Hyun said. I worked as a maintenance tech on colony ships. You learn to fix things with whatever you have available. But this is Veltron technology. You're not Veltron. Hyun smiled. A machine is a machine. Once you understand the basic principles, you can figure out most designs. Within an hour, the dispenser was working again. The other detainees cheered. Even the guard at the door looked impressed. That evening, Thrace came to Hyun's room with more questions. Tell me about Earth, Thrace said. What was it like growing up there? Hyun thought for a moment. It's beautiful and terrible at the same time. We have places so cold that water turns to stone. We have places so hot that the ground can burn your feet. We have storms that can destroy entire cities. We have creatures that can kill a human in seconds. That sounds horrifying, Thrace said. It does, Hyun agreed. But it's also home. We learned to survive in all those places. My ancestors lived in frozen lands and hunted animals bigger than houses. Other humans lived in deserts and found water where there seemed to be none. We learned to sail across vast oceans and climb the highest mountains. Why? Thrace asked. Why go to such dangerous places? Hyun shrugged. Because they were there. Humans are curious. We like to explore. We like to test ourselves. Thrace made notes on his datapad. Most species develop intelligence to avoid danger, but humans seem to seek it out. Not seek it out exactly, Hyun said. We just don't let danger stop us from doing what we want to do. Over the next few days, word about the mysterious humans spread through the station. Scientists from other ships asked permission to meet Hyun. Some travelers changed their routes just to catch a glimpse of him through the security monitors. Hyun became a celebrity without meaning to. He didn't like the attention, but he understood the curiosity. If an alien showed up on Earth claiming to be from an unknown species, everyone would want to see them too. Prex became Hyun's friend during this time. They played strategy games together. Hyun won most of them, which frustrated and amazed Prex. How do you think so many moves ahead? Prex asked after losing another game. Pattern recognition, Hyun explained. I look at what you've done before and predict what you'll do next. Humans are good at seeing patterns. That's a predator skill, Prex said quietly. Maybe, Hyun admitted. But we use it for many things, not just hunting. The station council met again to discuss Hyun's case. They were divided. Some wanted to keep studying him, others wanted to send him away. A few were afraid of what humans might mean for the galaxy. "If there's one human here, there might be millions on his home planet," one council member said. "Do we want a species of Death World survivors joining the galactic community?" "We can't judge an entire species based on one individual," Velrus argued. "This human has been nothing but cooperative and kind. He fixed our food dispenser. He plays games with other detainees. He's not a threat." "Not yet," said another council member darkly. The debate continued, but no decision was made. They would wait for Yun's sister to arrive with proof of human existence. Then they would decide what to do. In his room, Hyun looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Somewhere out there were billions of other humans who had no idea their existence was being debated by aliens. He smiled at the thought. When humanity finally made official contact with the galaxy, it was going to be very interesting. The alarm started screaming at 3 in the morning. Station time. Hyun woke up immediately, his heart pounding. Red emergency lights flashed in his room. He could hear shouting in the corridors outside. The door to his room locked automatically. Through the small window, he saw guards running past. They looked terrified. Hyun pressed the communication button on the wall. "What's happening?" No one answered. The station's speakers crackled to life. "Emergency lockdown in effect. All personnel and visitors must remain in their current locations. This is not a drill. Security teams report to Level 3, Bay 12. We have a containment breach." Hyun's mind raced. A containment breach meant something had escaped, something dangerous enough to lock down an entire space station. In the command center, Commander Velrus watched the security monitors with growing horror. A private ship had docked an hour ago. The owner claimed to have exotic cargo, but customs hadn't finished inspecting it before something broke free. That something was called a vrak. "How did a vrak get onto this station?" Velrus demanded. "The ship's owner had forged permits," her security chief said. "He was illegally transporting it to a collector in the inner systems." On the screen, they watched the vrak move through the corridors. It was huge, nearly 3 meters tall. Its body was covered in thick scales that looked like black armor. It had powerful legs built for running and jumping. Its arms ended in claws that could cut through metal. Its head was long and filled with teeth. Worst of all, vraks were intelligent. They could open doors, use simple tools, and plan their attacks. They were apex predators from a world where everything was dangerous, and they enjoyed hunting. "Where is it now?" Velrus asked. "Level 2, moving toward the residential sections," the security chief said. "It's killed 2 of our officers already." Velrus felt sick. She had to protect the thousands of beings on her station. But how do you fight a creature that evolution designed to be unstoppable? "Send in the heavy security team," she ordered. "Use the plasma weapons." In the holding area, Hyun could hear sounds of fighting. Weapons firing, something roaring, something that didn't sound like any creature he knew. Prex appeared at Hyun's door window. The guard had unlocked it to let detained passengers gather together for safety. "We need to hide," Prex said. His purple fur stood on end with fear. "There's a vrak loose on the station." "What's a vrak?" Hyun asked. Prex's eyes were wide with terror. "A monster. The most dangerous predator in the known galaxy. They live to hunt. They're smart, fast, and almost impossible to kill." Other detainees crowded into Hyun's room. They were all scared. Some were crying, a few were praying to their gods. Hyun felt his own fear, but he pushed it down. Panic wouldn't help. "Where's the guard?" he asked. "He ran when he heard the vrak was coming this way," Prex said. "We're on our own." Hyun went to the door and looked out into the corridor. It was empty. The lights flickered. In the distance, he could hear that terrible roaring sound getting closer. "Everyone stay calm," Hyun said. "Get away from the door. Find something you can use as a weapon." "Are you crazy?" Prex said. "Nothing can stop a vrak. Our only chance is to hide and pray it doesn't find us." but there was nowhere to hide. The holding area was designed to be open and comfortable, not secure. If the Vrak wanted to get in, it would. On the security monitors, Velrus watched her heavy security team confront the Vrak. They surrounded it at an intersection, 10 trained officers with plasma rifles. The Vrak looked at them and roared. It was a sound that reached into the primitive part of every creature's brain, the sound that meant death was coming. 3 officers dropped their weapons and ran. Their instincts overwhelmed their training. The other 7 opened fire. Plasma bolts hit the Vrak's armored hide. It roared again, more from anger than pain. Then it charged. The fight lasted less than a minute. When it was over, 4 more officers were dead. The others had retreated, wounded and traumatized. "It's heading straight for the holding area," the security chief said. Velrus made a hard decision. "Seal off that section. We can't let it reach the main residential levels." "Commander, there are 15 detainees in that area, including the human." "I know," Velrus said. Her voice was heavy with grief. "But I have to protect the 3,000 other beings on this station. Seal it now." Heavy blast doors slammed shut, cutting off the holding area from the rest of the station. Everyone inside was now trapped with the Vrak. Hyun heard the doors close. He understood what it meant. The station had given up on them. They were sacrificing a few to save many. It was logical, but it didn't feel good. "We're going to die," one of the detainees sobbed. "Not if we're smart," Hyun said. He was looking around the room, examining everything. His engineer's mind was working, analyzing, planning. "What are you doing?" Prex asked. "Looking for advantages," Hyun said. "What are the Vrak's weaknesses?" "It doesn't have weaknesses." "That's the point. Everything has weaknesses," Hyun said. "Is it faster than us? Stronger? More armored? Fine. What else do we have?" Prex thought about it. "Intelligence? We're all intelligent species here," Hyun said. "What else?" The roaring was very close now. They could hear heavy footsteps in the corridor. Something big was coming. Hyun grabbed a heavy tool from the maintenance kit he'd used to fix the food dispenser. It wasn't much, but it was something. "Everyone get behind me," Hyun said. "Stay quiet. Don't run unless I tell you to." "Why should we listen to you?" one detainee asked. "You're not even a recognized species." "Because I'm the only one not shaking with fear," Hyun said calmly. It was true. While everyone else trembled, Hyun stood steady. His heartbeat was fast, but his hands didn't shake. His mind was clear. The door exploded inward. Metal twisted and flew across the room. And there, filling the doorway, was the Vrak. It was more terrifying than Hyun had imagined, all teeth and claws and armored muscle. Its eyes were intelligent and cruel. It looked at the group of detainees like a cat looking at mice. Everyone screamed and ran to the back of the room. Everyone except Hyun. He stood perfectly still, the tool in his hand, watching the Vrak. The creature noticed him. It tilted its head, confused. Why wasn't this small creature running? Prey always ran. Hyun didn't run. He didn't attack either. He just stood there, maintaining eye contact, his body relaxed but ready. For the first time in its life, the Vrak felt something strange, something it didn't understand. The human's eyes weren't filled with fear like prey. But they weren't filled with aggression like a rival predator. They were filled with something else, something calculating, something patient. The Vrak took a step forward. Hyun took a step to the side, slowly, deliberately. They began to circle each other. In the command center, every eye was on the security monitors. They watched Hyun and the Vrak circle each other. No one could believe what they were seeing. "Why isn't he running?" someone whispered. "Why isn't the Vrak attacking?" someone else asked. Thrace leaned closer to the screen, his scientific mind racing. "This is extraordinary. Look at his posture. He's not frozen with fear. He's observing the creature, studying it. The Vrak moved closer. Its massive head was level with Hyun's chest. One swipe of its claws could tear him apart, but Hyun didn't flinch. He spoke to it. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Easy," Hyun said. "I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm not going to let you hurt them either." The Vrak didn't understand the words, but it understood the tone. This wasn't the sound of prey begging for mercy. This was something else. Something the Vrak had never encountered. It roared, trying to frighten Hyun into running. The sound was deafening in the small room. Behind Hyun, the other detainees screamed and covered their ears. Hyun didn't move. He kept his eyes locked on the Vrak's eyes. Frustrated, the Vrak lunged forward, claws extended. Hyun moved, not away from the attack, but to the side. The Vrak's claws missed him by centimeters. Before the creature could recover, Hyun was already moving again, stepping around a fallen piece of metal. The Vrak spun to follow him, but Hyun had positioned himself next to an exposed electrical panel. He didn't attack. He just waited. "What is he doing?" Velrus asked. "He's using the environment," Thrace said. "He's turning the room into his weapon." The Vrak charged again, faster this time. Hyun grabbed the edge of the electrical panel and pulled. Sparks flew out, bright and sudden. The Vrak jerked back, temporarily blinded. Hyun kept moving. He was always moving, never where the Vrak expected him to be. He stayed just out of reach, forcing the creature to turn, to adjust, to think. The other detainees watched in amazement. They had never seen anyone face a Vrak and survive for more than seconds. But Hyun had been fighting it for 3 full minutes now. The Vrak was getting angry. This tiny creature was making a fool of it. It was supposed to be the hunter, not this soft-skinned being with no claws or armor. It roared again and smashed its fist into the wall. Metal crumpled like paper. The show of strength was meant to terrify. Hyun's expression didn't change. He moved to the other side of the room, near the door. "Come on," Hyun said quietly. "Follow me." The Vrak did follow. It wanted to kill this creature more than anything. It forgot about the other beings in the room. It forgot about everything except the human who refused to act like prey. Hyun backed into the corridor. The Vrak followed, its full attention on him. "Run!" Hyun called to the others. "Get to the sealed door and signal for help." Prex didn't want to leave, but the other detainees were already running. He followed them, looking back to see Hyun disappear around a corner with the Vrak chasing him. In the corridors, Hyun continued his dance with death. He led the Vrak through the maintenance sections. Here there were pipes to dodge around, low-hanging equipment to duck under, narrow passages to slip through. The Vrak was faster and stronger, but it was also bigger. It had to slow down for obstacles that Hyun passed easily. With every minute, the creature grew more frustrated. Hyun's engineering knowledge served him well. He knew how stations like this were built. He understood the layout. When he reached a cargo bay, he smiled. "Perfect," he said to himself. He ran into the bay and turned to face the Vrak. The creature entered behind him, blocking the only exit. The Vrak's eyes gleamed with victory. Now there was nowhere to run, but Hyun wasn't trying to run anymore. He stood in the center of the cargo bay, near the loading mechanism. Above him, heavy cargo containers hung from magnetic clamps. The Vrak charged one final time, certain of its kill. Hyun waited. His hand moved to the control panel on the wall. He had watched the cargo workers use it when he first arrived at the station. He understood how it worked. At the last possible second, Hyun pressed the release button and rolled to the side. 3 tons of cargo containers crashed down. The Vrak tried to stop, but momentum carried it forward. The containers didn't hit it directly, but they landed around it, creating a cage of metal and machinery. The creature roared and thrashed, but the containers were too heavy. It was trapped. Hyun stood up, breathing hard. His clothes were torn, and he had cuts on his arms from sparks and sharp edges. But he was alive. Security teams arrived minutes later. They found Hyun sitting against the wall, watching the trapped Vrak. The creature had stopped struggling. It just stared at Hyun with something that looked like fear. "How did you do this?" the security chief asked. "I paid attention," Hyun said. "I noticed it was fast in straight lines but slow to turn. I saw it relied on strength and intimidation, so I used speed and the environment against it." Thrace arrived with Commander Velris. The scientist approached Hyun with awe in his eyes. "I watched everything on the monitors," Thrace said. "You didn't fight like a prey species trying to survive. You didn't fight like a predator trying to dominate. You fought like a human," Hyun finished. "We're not the strongest or fastest, but we're patient. We adapt. We use tools. We outlast our opponents." Velris looked at the trapped Vrak, then at Hyun. "Do you know what you just did? Vraks are considered the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Military teams train for months to hunt them. And you defeated one with no weapons and no training." "I had training," Hyun said. "Just not the kind you're thinking of. Every human learns to solve problems. Every human learns to persist even when things look impossible. It's what we do." Thrace was frantically taking notes on his data pad. "This changes everything. I need to revise my entire paper. Humans aren't predators or prey. They're something completely new." "What are they?" Velris asked. "Pursuit hunters," Thrace said. "On their death world, they evolved to chase prey over long distances. They're not fast enough to catch it in a sprint. They're not strong enough to overpower it. So they follow it, track it, exhaust it. They never give up. They use tools and intelligence to make up for what they lack in natural weapons." Velris watched as medical teams treated Hyun's injuries. The human was calm, almost cheerful. He had just fought a creature that terrified the entire galaxy, and he was smiling. "The Vrak recognizes him now," Thrace said, pointing at the trapped creature. "Look at its eyes. It knows it met something more dangerous than itself." It was true. The Vrak wouldn't take its eyes off Hyun. For the first time in its life, the apex predator had become prey, and it was afraid. 2 days after the incident with the Vrak, a small research vessel docked at the station. Nari stepped off the ship carrying 3 cases full of data files, biological samples, and historical records about Earth and humanity. She went straight to the command center and demanded to see her brother. "I'm Nari, xenolinguist from the Kepler Research Colony," she announced. "I'm here to collect my idiot brother who apparently fought an apex predator with a wrench." Commander Velris looked at the young woman with interest. She had the same calm eyes as her brother, the same steady posture. "Your brother is in medical care," Velris said. "He's fine. Minor injuries only." "Let me see him," Nari demanded. They took her to the medical bay. Hyun was sitting up in bed, his arms wrapped in bandages. When he saw his sister, he smiled. "Hey, Nari." "Don't hey Nari me," she said, but she was hugging him tightly. "What were you thinking? A Vrak? Really?" "I didn't have much choice," Hyun said. "It was going to kill everyone." Nari pulled back and looked at him. "You're just like Dad, always trying to fix everything." "Someone has to." Thrace entered the room, followed by several other scientists. They all wanted to meet another human. "I've studied your documentation," Thrace said to Nari. "It's remarkable. Your species has survived 3 major extinction events on your planet. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts. Yet you not only survived, you thrived." "Humans are stubborn," Nari said. "We don't know when to quit." Over the next few hours, Nari presented her evidence to the station council. She showed them maps of Earth, DNA samples, historical records, and cultural information. She explained how humans had spread across their entire planet, adapting to every environment. We come from what you call a death world, Nari said. But to us, it's just home. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it has extreme weather and large predators. But that's what shaped us. We learned to work together, to use tools, to plan ahead. We learned that persistence beats strength. Commander Velvis reviewed the files. Why wasn't Earth in our databases? Earth is in a remote part of the galaxy, Nari explained. Your survey probes visited our solar system about 5,000 years ago. At that time, humans were just starting to build civilizations. Your probes determined that Earth was too unstable for advanced life and marked it as unsuitable. You never checked again. But now you have space travel, Thrace said. How? We developed it ourselves, Nari said proudly. About 200 years ago, we figured out basic space flight. 50 years ago, we cracked faster-than-light travel. We've been slowly exploring nearby systems. But we haven't made official contact with the galactic community yet. We wanted to learn more first. Smart, Velris said. Some species rush into galactic politics before they're ready. Humans like to be prepared, Nari said. My brother is proof of that. He wasn't trained to fight Vrax, but his whole life prepared him to survive dangerous situations. Prex, who had been listening from the doorway, spoke up. I have a question. Your brother said humans evolved as persistence hunters. What does that mean exactly? Nari smiled. It means our ancestors hunted by chasing prey until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. We're not fast, but we can run all day in the heat. Most animals can sprint faster than us, but they overheat quickly. Humans just keep coming. We track them, follow them, never let them rest. Eventually, the prey is too tired to run anymore. The room was silent. Every species there understood the implications. Humans were creatures that never stopped, that never gave up, that would chase their goal until they achieved it, or died trying. That's terrifying, someone whispered. That's humanity, Nari said. But it's also why we're good friends. We're loyal. We don't abandon our allies. We persist in helping people just like we persist in everything else. Commander Velris made her decision. I'm releasing Hyun from detention. Earth will be officially registered in our databases. Humanity will be recognized as a sentient species. Thank you, Nari said. However, Velris continued, I recommend that the Galactic Council be very careful in their dealings with your species. You're unlike anything we've encountered. That makes you valuable as allies, but also potentially dangerous as enemies. We don't want to be enemies with anyone, Hyun said from his bed. We just want to explore, learn, and make friends. Just like you made friends with the Vrak? Velris asked with a hint of humor. Hyun laughed. That was different. It attacked first. Later that evening, Hyun and Nari stood in the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. They were waiting for their transport to the research colony where Nari worked. The galaxy is going to be very interested in humans now, Nari said. Your fight with the Vrak is already becoming a story people tell. I didn't want to be famous, Hyun said. Too late. You're the human who made an apex predator afraid. That's going to follow you forever. Prex found them there. He had come to say goodbye. I wanted to thank you, Prex said to Hyun. You saved all of us in the holding area. We would have died if you hadn't stopped that creature. Anyone would have done the same, Hyun said. No, Prex said firmly. Anyone would have run and hidden. You stood and fought. That's what makes humans special. After Prex left, Thrace approached them. He carried a data pad with his completed research paper. I've titled it, Persistence Hunters, a new category of sentient life, Thrace said. I hope you don't mind, but I've recommended that the galactic community establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. We'd like that, Nari said. I should warn you, Thrace said. Some species will be afraid of humans. Others will want to test you, to see if you're really as persistent and adaptable as you seem, and some will try to recruit you for their military forces. We can handle it, Hyun said. Humans have dealt with challenges before. Thrace laughed. I believe you. After all, you're the species that survived a death world and turned it into a home. As their transport arrived, Hyun took one last look at the station. So much had happened here. He had been detained, studied, and forced to fight for his life. But he had also made friends, taught the galaxy about humanity, and proven that humans belonged among the stars. The Vrak was being transported to a high-security containment facility. Hyun heard that it still wouldn't eat or sleep properly. It just watched the door, waiting, as if expecting Hyun to appear at any moment. Do you feel bad for it? Nari asked as they boarded their ship. A little, Hyun admitted. It was just being what it was designed to be, an apex predator. It couldn't understand that it met something that doesn't fit the normal rules. That's humanity's strength, Nari said. We don't fit the rules. We make our own path. Their ship departed from the station. Through the window, they could see the vast expanse of space, millions of stars, thousands of inhabited worlds, hundreds of different species, and now all of them knew about humans. What do you think will happen when Earth makes official contact? Hyun asked. Nari thought about it. Some aliens will welcome us, some will fear us, some will try to compete with us. But eventually, they'll understand what we really are. What's that? Survivors who became explorers, hunters who became friends, a species that faced a world trying to kill them every day and responded by thriving. We're not the strongest or the fastest or the smartest, but we're still here. We're still standing. We're still moving forward. Hyun smiled. I like that. Still standing. Still moving forward. That's the human way, Nari said. We don't give up. We adapt. We persist. And eventually we succeed. Far behind them, Commander Velrus watched their ship disappear into faster-than-light travel. She thought about Hyun's calm eyes, his clever mind, his refusal to give up even when facing certain death. She thought about a species that evolved on a death world and conquered it through persistence and intelligence. She thought about what it would mean for the galaxy when millions of such beings joined the galactic community. They're going to change everything, she said quietly. Thrace, standing beside her, nodded. They already have. That human showed us something we'd forgotten. Strength isn't just about claws and armor and speed. Sometimes the most powerful thing is the refusal to quit. Velrus accessed the galactic database one more time. Where there had once been an error message for human, there was now a full entry. Species, human. Origin, Earth, Sector 447. Classification, persistence, hunter. Threat level, variable. Recommendation, diplomatic contact advised. And at the bottom, a note added by Thrace. Remarkable species, survivors of a death world, highly intelligent, adaptable, and persistent. Capable of extraordinary problem-solving under pressure. Recommend friendship over conflict. Humans make excellent allies, but would be formidable opponents. Most notable trait, they never give up. Velrus approved the entry and sent it to the Galactic Council. Humanity's journey into the stars had officially begun.